Today on episode 29, we have John Kowalczyk, who's going to be talking about a bourbon gift exchange where he's grown up from just a few buddies into something that's a full-blown event with even vendors sponsoring.
This episode of the Bourbon Pursuit podcast is brought to you in partnership with thewhiskeywash.com, a lifestyle website for news and reviews for people who like whiskey and for those who think that a life without whiskey has no style. Thewhiskeywash.com.
And we're back with another episode of the Bourbon Pursuit podcast. My name is Kenny, and Ryan is here with me as well. And what do you know? We're recording 2 episodes in 1 week after we've taken almost like a month-long hiatus.
We're just like taking the break and then just going hard at it. And we're going to bust out a bunch this winter to kind of backlog again and release a bunch. So glad to be back at it. It was too long of a break. I missed it.
I agree. So, I mean, bourbon release season has kind of slowed down. We kind of talked about in the last episode about, some of the bottles we got and some of the things that, we've started to kind of start experimenting with. I mean, is there any new bottles that you've gotten lately, Ryan, that you've been excited to crack open, or you're kind of waiting to go ahead and do it for the right opportunity, maybe for the holidays coming up?
I'm impulsive, so I don't wait. As soon as I get something, I open it like very quickly, and then I'll have like a shot or two, and then I'm like, oh crap, that's like pretty rare and shouldn't. So like, I recently got some 1986 and 87 Old Grandad, and that's been one of the best bourbons I've ever had. There's something about it. It tastes like butterscotch. It's a lot lower proof, which I generally don't like, but I think it's only 86 proof, but man, it's got so much flavor for a low proof bourbon. That's been probably the most enjoyable thing I've had this season. And then I recently just opened my Willet 22 also, in a William LaRue Weller and did those side by side. And it's ironic how very similar they taste next to each other. So
well, those old weeders, man, that's what'll get it to you.
Yeah, sure. They're good, but I'm excited for the holidays. Thanksgiving that's my favorite. I love to get bloated and then chase it down with some bourbon. So I'm excited.
It
for all
sounds
this.
with those old granddads, you're kind of turning into a dusty hunting kind of guy. I really never gotten into that. I think the thrill of the chase of just all the new bottles kind of gets me. I would always like to try it because you guys all talk about the old granddads and the butterscotch bombs and all these things that are great from the old National Distillery days, but I still haven't got my hands on it yet.
I never had either, and then I went to an event during Bourbon Festival. The owner of Jack Rose Saloon in Washington, D.C., they have like the biggest Dusty Collection bar in the world, and then like Sean Brock, who owns Husk down in Charleston and Nashville, they all brought like all this old rare stuff, and then Drew from Willits was there, and they brought out a bunch of their stuff they've been working on. But yeah, they brought out that 86 Grandad and like some 1993 Russell's Reserve and like all this old stuff, and you're like, holy hell, this stuff's amazing. Like, so I'm definitely like turned in like finding the older stuff now, but it seems to be getting more and more popular because hell, now these bottles are like going for $300 or $400 a piece, which is insanity. Tough. It's an expensive piss.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I think this is one of the things that maybe next time that Whiskey Pig event, whatever, comes up at Willow, I think I'll have to just buy a ticket and suck it up and go with you guys next time because it sounded like it was a pretty good experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was $100, but you got free food from one of the best chefs in the country, Sean Brock, and then you got, I want to say 6 to 8 samplings of Dusty's and Drew's like newer, their stuff that's coming off the still. So you got to try that before it's even been released, and it's impressive. I'm excited to see how that whiskey matures and when it's ready to be released, because at 3 and 4 years, it's pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah, and I actually, you talked about the 22-year Willet. I actually just opened up my 2015 William LaRue Weller here a few days ago because we finally, I'm getting my house together, and I've got my boxes of bourbon that are downstairs, and I've got my shelf upstairs, and so I figured, okay, this is probably a good opportunity to finally crack open something from the 2015 Chase and then bring up all my open bottles upstairs, and then I realized as soon as I was bringing them up, I've got like probably 30 open bottles, so I guess now next time anybody comes over, they've got their pretty much a good handful of selection from about a third of my collection that actually open now.
Well, I'll be over soon.
So let's go ahead and we'll get this kicked off. Today on the show, we don't have somebody that's necessarily from the bourbon industry, right? This was a listener that sent us a message, and he said, "You know what, guys? I think I have a really good topic that your listeners would be really interested in, because it's something that everybody is capable of, everybody's capable of doing, and it's honestly at the end of the day, it's just fun." And it's going to be great for the holiday seasons now that we are all getting ready to kind of go through, right? So
yeah, for sure. We've talked about ways to incorporate bourbon with your friends, and we talked about how I did the fantasy football thing, and then I think what John is going to talk about is an awesome time to kind of celebrate during Christmas season as well.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and we'll introduce our guest. So our guest today is John Kowalczyk. John is a chiropractor from, I don't even remember now, somewhere in Michigan. So, John, welcome to the show.
Pinconning, Michigan,
yeah.
A little town of 1,500 people. Thank you very much for having me.
So, John, before we get kicked off and start talking about, what you came here to talk about, let's go and give us some background about maybe your journey into bourbon. How did you get into this kind of whiskey lifestyle that we're all sort of kind of accustomed to now?
So our journey into bourbon, it started through my dad. My dad was a bourbon drinker, and when I was young, he was the only bourbon drinker we kind of known. Everyone's drinking beer and other stuff in town. And my dad, who's also named John Kowalczyk, he always drank bourbon. He always had Jim Beam and Coke everywhere he went to parties and things. And then I don't know, I guess when you're young and come into drinking age, the first thing you drink is what's available to you. And so we started. I have a brother too, and we started drinking bourbon when it was the right time, and we just really liked it. I mean, bourbon has that kind of sweetness that makes it go down easy, and so we got into bourbon. The funny thing is, though, then all of our friends through us also started drinking bourbon, and then a lot of my dad's friends through him started drinking bourbon, and all of a sudden there was just this big group of people really enjoying bourbon, and it all actually started through my dad.
So go ahead and let's kind of talk about why you're on the show today, because I don't want to spoil it for our listeners, but it's something to do with the holidays and what makes it really fun. So kind of just give us a background of how this all started.
Yeah, I'll tell you the story of what happened. So a bunch of our friends, our wives all get together every holiday season and do cookie exchanges. And some of them do ornament exchanges too. And so all the wives would get together and do these cookie exchanges. And some of us guys were sitting around and we were thinking, well, what do we do? Why don't we do something like that? And one of my friends, Scott Stazak, says, why don't we do a bourbon exchange? So we all looked at each other like, well, yeah, that's an awesome idea. Why wouldn't we do a bourbon exchange? So at first it was just seven of us friends got together, and we decided the rules were you had to buy a bottle of bourbon that was at least $35. And it had to be something that you had never tried before, so that we could bring all this new bourbon in. Because in the beginning, even back then, this was only 3 or 4 years ago, still we weren't really into bourbon. I mean, we enjoyed bourbon, but again, Jim Beam and Coke. We drink some of that bourbon, but we never really got any deeper. So we figured this is a good way to get better bourbon and to be able to try a bunch of it. So we did our first event around Christmas time, and it was great. We had 7 guys. One guy actually brought tequila, so he really didn't get that it was a bourbon exchange.
So he's not buying it back.
Yeah, exactly. And the funny thing is now everyone's because now it's grown more, but we always get one person that doesn't bring bourbon that we love to make fun of the one guy that does that. But so we with that first year, what happened was, one, we got to try a bunch of new bourbon, maybe a little bit more expensive than we were accustomed to. And it kind of started our journey for a lot of us down to really become bourbon enthusiasts instead of just bourbon drinkers.
So throw out some names of some of the brands that you had your first year that, I mean, because it sounds like a lot of you guys were new into it. So I'm assuming it's some of the typical ones, maybe like a Knob Creek or a Maker's Mark or stuff like that.
Exactly. Like I think the one I got that year was Basil Hayden's, which was really good. And then there was Four Roses single barrel that someone got. Man, what I think someone even no, there was no Blanton's that year, but and some of the what was the Jim Beam special editions. There was one or two of those, I think. So in the beginning it was, again, like you said, Knob Creek, those type of things that are a step up from just regular Jim Beam, something like that. But then into the next year, it got bigger and people started bringing even better bourbon. Like we started out at $35, but then in the next year, like I think I got a bottle of Blanton's the next year, which was fantastic. There's been Angel's Envy, which is actually one of my favorites. Just a lot of better bourbon.
So how did more people, I guess, kind of find out about it and it kind of spread? Because I know, at least with me and my friends, and sometimes with Ryan and his friends, we kind of have a mixed group of friends, but you kind of have some of those core sets, right? You kind of have like your 5 to 8 people that are kind of like the core people, and then you've got a few people on the outside, and then but there's only a few special occasions when all these kind of core sets kind of mix, and then all of a sudden you've got like 50 people in one room together.
Yeah, exactly. Because when you start getting friends of friends and you worry, are they really into it? But it definitely just spread by word of mouth. We had about 7 people that first year, and then the next year, without us even really wanting to make it a really big deal, we were up to 20 people, 20 guys the next year, and it was all just basically, we told people the story of, hey, guess what we did? Yeah, we got together, we did this bourbon exchange, and I don't think I ran into a single person that said, "Wow, that's a terrible idea." Every person we talked to, lame. Everyone said, "Wow, that sounds like a great idea." And then the funny thing is, it's even people like one of my friends, his brother-in-law. So my friend and his brother-in-law comes to me. He says, "Hey, man, I want in." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I'll do whatever." He said, "I'll do my research. I'll make sure I get a good bottle." He said, "I'll do what I got to do, but I want in on this. This sounds like a great time." And that's when it really got fun, because, like I said, people did start doing research and looking more for bottles that we haven't seen or the newest thing, and it just got really fun. And we started trying new and better bourbons. Like I said, we started becoming more enthusiasts, but we just started learning more about how it works and everything. And it actually led to this summer, 8 of us took the trip down there to Kentucky and did the bourbon tour, and went to a bunch of the distilleries and everything.
So you've gotten appreciation. It sounds like when it spread, it sounded very much like it was like from old school. Like, hey, Mitch, I heard you're starting a fraternity. Can I join?
Yeah. So
exactly. I told someone it was like a Fight Club.
Yeah.
The wives didn't care, and that was a good thing because they already had their thing. They had their cookie exchange going. Now, I don't think they drink as much at the cookie exchange as we do at ours, but maybe a couple of glasses of wine. But it was they didn't mind. They thought, hey, you guys do your thing, we'll do ours, and like I said, it's grown, and it's been a lot of fun.
So what are the specific rules, I guess, for the exchange? How does it work so people can kind of get an idea and make their own for this holiday?
So how we ran it is we run it like, I think people call, I don't know if you call it a white elephant exchange or people call it different things, where you bring a bottle and we put ours in gift bags. I guess you could wrap them. And then the first person chooses a bottle and opens it up. And then the next person in line, we do, draw cards for who goes when. The next person in line can either steal the one that the other person opened, or you can open up a new one. And then the next person can do the same thing. If your bottle gets stolen, then you can actually steal one of the other ones that are there, or you can open a new one. We made the rule a bottle can only be stole twice. And then the other rule we made is if someone steals the bottle that you got, you have the right to open it up and take a shot out of it before you pass it along.
See, I kind of like that rule. That would make me hope that I'm like the first person to choose, and then basically at that point I could start sampling almost every single bourbon underneath the tree.
You'll be smashed by the end.
Oh, that's funny. I never thought of it that way, because we all want to be at the end to be able to choose any bottle. But yeah, you can get a lot of free samples that way.
So is there like one bourbon that's kind of stood out that some of your friends have bought? Like maybe they brought like a lot B, like Van Winkle or something, and then that's just been like the cream of the crop? I mean, is there somebody that's brought something that's just they've been like totally blew that $50 budget out of there?
No, no one's gotten that big. Last year we did have a Van Winkle that we just were sampling there, that one of the guys had. But as far as the exchange goes, like I said, it started out, it just had to be $35. But yeah, a lot of them are creeping up into the $50 range. Like last year we had a couple of Blantons. We had the Woodford Reserve Double Oak. That was fantastic. And I'll say, a lot of the guys, some of the new guys they don't really know what tastes good and what tastes bad. They just know what's expensive and what looks good. So everyone sees the Blanton's bottle with the horse on top of it and all that, and everyone's fighting for that. And then the Woodford Double Oak, like not many people were even trying to steal that, and that was just amazing. I mean, I love that stuff. So there's a couple of them around $40. There's the Angel's Envy. There's one of those which was really good. The other one, like what I brought last year, was Elmer T. Lee. And Elmer T. Lee is only about $35, but the guys that knew a lot about bourbon there, they were fighting over the Elmer T. Lee over the other ones, because they know how hard that's getting to get.
Yeah, I wouldn't be bringing my Elmer T. Lee to that.
No, this year I actually have a bottle on the way that someone found for me, and I'm like, nah, that won't be going into the exchange.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of the good thing, right? I mean, it's easily going to be able to pick and choose who in the room knows their stuff versus ones that are just there to, hopefully land something better than what they brought.
Right, exactly.
So you also talked about you got some kind of sponsorships from local stores and stuff like that. I guess kind of talk about that and how they knew about it and how you went about approaching it. That
was kind of like the next step. So we started out a few guys getting together. We had our event. Then the next year the event grew. And then the next year, third year, which was last year, so we were talking again, and we said, we wonder if some distilleries or even local liquor stores would sponsor us. So we went to one of the liquor stores, and they said, sure, we'll give you some stuff. So they gave us some pint glasses to give away and things like that. There's this year a different liquor store. There's a couple high-end liquor stores in our area. We went and asked those guys, and not only the owner of this other liquor store out in Corconale, he's the owner is coming to our event. We told him about it, and he gave us some stuff, and he said, well, yeah, I'd love to come to that. So he's even going to be one of the participants this year. So they've donated some things like just things to give away. But then the other thing that was huge is we contacted some of the distilleries, and how we worked it is we contacted them and we said, listen, we got 30, 40, 50 guys here that are your exact target audience. I mean, these are, guys that are willing to spend, $35 to $50 on a bottle of bourbon. and we got them all together here, and we asked, would you like to give us just some promotional items to give away? And we got a great response. A lot of the distilleries just sent us a bunch of stuff, and I've been going back and forth about even some of the guys. We talked about this earlier, that some of the guys weren't sure they wanted me to reveal what distilleries those were, because anyone listening here could do the same thing and cut in their stuff. But this one distillery, I mean, they gave us a couple of barrel heads, a couple of shirts, like actually good night dry fit t-shirts, hats, t-shirts, book bags. I mean, just all kinds of stuff to give away, because they agreed. They thought, yeah, these are the people that we need to market to, and you have them sitting right there. So it was a great thing. And that's something that anybody can do. Like I say, we're just average guys. We just started writing letters, and a lot of people completely ignored us. Some people, again, I won't say names of the bad ones either. One of the first bourbons we were ever drinking, I'll say that, they completely blew us off and just said, no, we don't deal with small things like that, which was kind of ridiculous. But the vast majority of distilleries, big or small, that we contacted were like, yeah, sure, we'll send you something, a knick-knack, this or that. And so now, like this year, our event this year, we will have something to give to every person that came. And it's all free. It's all free stuff that us just contacting people, the distilleries, and telling them, asking them if they'll send us stuff. Everyone that walks in is going to get a ticket for a drawing, and everyone's going to walk away with either a Buffalo Trace T-shirt or Angels Envy sent something, this, that. Everyone's going to get something for free just for showing up.
Gave it away.
That's just a T-shirt, just a T-shirt.
Yeah, well, that's pretty awesome. I mean, I think at this point, I mean, you're creeping up to the 50 people mark, or 50 people at this party, right?
Yeah. This year it could get up that big. That's a lot of bottles of bourbon. Yeah. So then the other thing we added in is last year we did Bourbon Trivia. So again, for some of the stuff that this distillery sent to us, my brother put together a Bourbon Trivia that the winner got this statue that one of the distilleries sent to us. So we also have someone that's one of the distributors possibly wants to come in and do a tasting. Like they'll bring some of the stuff in and do a tasting for us. So we were thinking of trying to do a taste test to see if people can really distinguish between the expensive stuff and the cheap stuff. Do a blind taste test and see. Everyone claims they can tell the difference between everything, but we want to put that to the test and see if people could.
Yeah, I actually had a friend who he just turned 30. And he's a huge bourbon collector, and he went out to the bars, and then even after 4 a.m. he came back, and they had every single bottle of the Pappy and BTAC lineup out there, and he did a blind taste test of all of them, and he was really cocky, and he was like, "Oh, I'll get them all. And he only got 3 of them. So it's definitely like one of those things where it's really cool to kind of, as you said, kind of gauge people. And it sounds like you make like a huge event out of this. Like it doesn't sound like it fits in anybody's basement anymore.
Yeah, and definitely we don't want to get that big. Hopefully it doesn't get that big. We had like a shed, it's like a heated shed last year that one of the guys owned that holds like, a bunch of tables. I mean, it was I don't know how big it was, but it's big. And that's where we did it last year and had room. But yeah, that's the next step, is how big do you want to be? We could turn this actually into an actual event. I mean, this started just as a bunch of guys getting together to do this. And then the other thing is it grew without us trying really to grow it. It's just that it was something that everyone wanted to do. We've actually had conversations this year, some of us that started it, how big do we want it to get? Because again, you get friends of friends, and then there's, like I said earlier, there's always that one guy that brings like just a bottle of Old Granddad or something. You run into brought just that. We wondered, do we want to keep it small enough where we can make sure everyone's getting a good bottle of bourbon?
But yeah, that's really cool. I mean, because I know, and Ryan knows too. I mean, there's a event around us that is a lot of very much like wine focused. So you have a team of 3, and the team of 3 brings 3 bottles of the same exact wine, and then you have basically a blind taste test of close to probably, I don't know, 250, 300 wines, because that's how many people have started coming to this thing. And then at the end, the first 3 teams, whoever brings the best bottle of wine, it's you kind of have it, you choose, like, was it number 40 or number 212 had the best bottle, and then the winner gets to go home with like close to 200 different bottles of wine. So it gets to be a pretty big thing. But at that point, like, you can't sample 250 bottles of wine.
No.
I mean, I guess you could, but
you could, but you wouldn't know what the last one tasted like.
after 10, like, you're just everything's shot, right?
Yeah. Number 150 tastes way better than number 2.
Yeah.
So what are your kind of plans for this year for it? I mean, are you continually trying to one-up it, or do you think, like, at this point you kind of have a very good baseline of how this is all going to work, and you've kind of got, like, you've got your crew, you've got your people involved. We kind of have to start checking people at the door and saying, I'm sorry, you're not getting a wristband today, you're not coming in. So yeah, it's like, how do you one-up it, or are you kind of just going to keep it level?
Yeah, I think after this year, I think we do just want to try to keep it level. We did try to this year, how we kind of tried to one up ourselves, and the event is December 5th, so it's coming up here just in a couple weeks. That we printed up T-shirts. We made up our own little logo and printed T-shirts up that everyone gets. Everyone gets one at the door, and we've bought a couple of bottles, a couple of really nice bottles that we're going to actually raffle off. So everyone gets their bottle of through the exchange, but then we're having, like, maybe throw in an extra $5, and so an extra $5 for 40 people, then you got another $200, and we can actually buy a really nice bottle of bourbon and raffle that off. So we're looking to do that. We haven't found out what bottle of bourbon we're going to have. Like I say, last year one of the guys had a bottle of Old Rip Van Winkle, which would have been nice if we can get another one of those. But so that's the only thing we're doing more than what we've did every other year this year.
Ryan, how hard do you think this would be able to do in Kentucky?
With our friends, we're snooty snobs. No, I'm kidding. But we just, I think it's a great idea for people, that are just getting into the bourbon game and want to try a bunch of stuff without spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
See, with our friends, we'd have to up the game to like 75 to 100 because we're freaking, we're spoiled here. We're a little, snobs. But no,
Right.
I think it's a great idea, and I would love to do it. I don't know if I need another reason to get together and drink bourbon. I think I have plenty, but no, it's
there's never enough reasons to get together
that's
and
true.
drink bourbon.
And I think it'd be fun with your friends, just to, I think it would go well.
There's not enough bourbon at this party, said no one ever.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
No, I think it would be cool. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. This is great for people getting into the game. They want to experience a lot of different brands. And even, the way that John said that if you get your bottle taken, you can just crack it open right there. And
yeah, I love that rule. That's pretty awesome.
Have yourself a pour of it. I honestly, I think that'd be great. Even after the exchange is done. I mean, do people sit there and they just open their bottles right then?
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Everybody starts sharing?
Oh yeah, a lot of people open up their bottles and start sharing, and that's definitely kind of what happened to us. And I agree, it's best for people that are just starting out, and that's what we've done. And we've worked out. Like I said, at first it was only $35. Now the majority of the bottles are probably around $50 bottles, and we've all kind of turned into bourbon chasers a little bit. We're chasing after different bottles, but we're definitely not the ones to put them up on the shelf. I mean, my brother last year was able to land a bottle of Stag from one of the local liquor stores, and I can't wait to crack that open. And he definitely will. Like, we'll all get together and we'll crack it open and try everything. So it's just a way that really led us to learn much more about bourbon, and we don't have palates that can tell the difference between, much, but we're getting there. We're able to taste a lot more things. Like, we get together and just try the bottles that we have nowadays. Like, one of them we love is the Jefferson's Ocean, which I know that didn't get like great reviews. It was just kind of like a shtick, a lot of people thought. But for us, I mean, to actually be able to taste it, there's kind of the salt in the taste and what
a little bit of brininess to it.
Yeah. Like Trey Zeller described it as he thought it should taste like salted caramel, and we actually can kind of taste that, and like that's awesome when we, as we move along our journey in bourbon, like to be able to have those tastes and refine them a little bit. That's really what brought us into this, and it's been a lot of fun.
Well, I know if I go to the party and if it's a $50 minimum, I know exactly the bottle I'm bringing, and that would be a bottle of Booker's, barrel-proof Booker's. That's the way I go.
You can't go wrong there.
Yeah.
It's for the money. That's a great bottle.
Yeah. There's been Booker's there. I've had Booker's, and it's that's definitely a good one. This year, my bottle, if anyone's listening, I'm going to give away what my bottle is. It's Amador. Have you guys heard of that? Amador?
Yes, I have, yeah.
It's it's like, because Angel's Envy has always been my favorite because it's finished in the port wine barrels, and this is a new one that I found that's also finished in Napa Valley wine barrels. So I'm looking forward to trying it. Whoever gets it better give me a shot.
Well, if they try to steal it from you, you can take one.
There you go.
Yeah, yep.
It's the golden rule. You always buy 2 of everything, so you should probably have another one just sitting in your bunker too, right?
Yes, that's actually a really good idea. Yeah.
Well, good deal. So we're hitting that 30-minute mark. So, John, I want to say thank you again for coming on the show and sharing your experiences with this bourbon exchange for Christmas.
Thanks for having me. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, fantastic. Ryan, you got any closing remarks?
No, I think it's a great idea. I mean, I've been playing the Dirty Santa with my family for years, and we do it. We split up the guys and the girls, and I actually bring bourbon to it every year, but they always bring like hand tools, and it's a $25 gift, and I'm like tired of getting ratchet straps and screwdrivers, so I'm going to try to convince them to let's do the bourbon exchange instead.
Well, maybe you invite me over. I'll bring another bottle too, and we see if we can't start swaying their ways.
Yeah, we'll get T-shirts, and we'll be up to John's level here soon.
Yeah, one of these. Yeah, I don't know if we can have 50 people there. That's a lot of people to take care of.
Hey, I'll tell you what, it goes quickly without you even knowing it.
So with that, we'll go ahead and we'll close it out. Again, this is episode 29 of Bourbon Pursuit. If you like what you hear, make sure you subscribe to us on iTunes. You can find us just by searching Bourbon Pursuit. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Bourbon Pursuit. You can also like us on Facebook. And then we got some more guests lined up for the rest of this month. Have a great holiday season.
We're thankful for people even listening to this. We didn't think that would ever happen, but I'm glad that you all do and enjoy it, and we'll keep bringing you the best shows we can.
Thank you, everyone.